Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 2. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by hitting the subscribe button, liking this video, and turning on notifications as well as sharing. The final night. Written by Snyder with pencils by Greg Capullo, inks by Jonathan Glapion, with colors by FCO Palencia, and letters by Tom Napolitano. And this issue begins with a lizard crawling through the grass when it's revealed that it's one of the Dark Knights, known as Batum, before he gets squashed by a vehicle known as Batmobeast, who is bringing Wonder Woman, Wally West, and Swamp Thing to the hellscape outside of what used to be Washington, D.C. It's here that Wonder Woman explains that this is the Valhalla Cemetery, where a bunker exists that's guarded by science and magic, when they are suddenly attacked by a two-headed green beast, when Wonder Woman speaks the password and are then greeted by an elderly JSA, where we see Jay Garrick embrace Wally West, and Wonder Woman talks to Batman about their options. We come to find out that Batman is not happy with Wonder Woman's killing of the Batman Who Laughs, and says they need to play the short game, but Wonder Woman protests that they need to go big and free everyone, and to get as much crisis energy as possible to save all of the Earths and defeat Perpetua. However, Batman isn't convinced and informs her that it doesn't really matter, as the events of Dark Knight's Metal through the Battle of Perpetua showed their efforts were futile. Wonder Woman pleads with Batman to reconsider, and for a minute, wonders if he might be right, when Batman agrees to assist them, as Barry Allen then enters the room, where the three Flashes embrace in another hug, as Barry informs Jay that the Speed Force is almost depleted. We then shift to Castle Bat, where we see various versions of Alfred transplanting a brain into what appears to be Dr. Manhattan, but is actually the previously mentioned final Bruce Wayne. The body moves, and after making a demonstration of his power, it's revealed that this brain was that of the Batman Who Laughs, as he morphs into this form. Perpetua then summons him, as she instructs that he needs to be careful with his plans, because if her kind senses what's going on, the reckoning they'd bring would make Perpetua look small time. The Batman Who Laughs then decides to make one of his Groblins into a Robin King, as he morphs again into what he calls the Darkest Night. We then rejoin the heroes as they come to another bunker where Harley Quinn's giant hyena eats a guy shooting at them, allowing them access to the bunker when they come across the original Dark Knights. However, Batman explains that they aren't real and were created by Toy Master, as well as a giant robot, which Batman says isn't exactly subtle. We then see the robot jettison into the sky, being a combination of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, bringing this issue to a close. And I figure the best way to start the opinion process of this video is, is Scott Snyder actually serious? For a book that's supposed to be piloting or driving the DC Universe into the future, maybe to 5G, maybe to not, this book reads like that Scott Snyder's just around. And I'm finding it really hard to take this book seriously, because everything I'm seeing so far about this book is screaming parody rather than an actual in-continuity story. I mean, granted, the original Dark Knight's Metal had its weird things about it too. I mean, baby Darkseid. But throughout, it also felt more cohesive. It felt like the stakes were there. I mean, I know the stakes are here, but unlike the original Dark Knight's Metal, I'm not feeling them, because everything here kind of reads like a joke. I mean, granted, it has some funny aspects about it, like, I think Batum revealing himself and then getting squished by Batmobeast was relatively funny. But then I start to think about it, and I'm like, this is actually kind of stupid. Because one thing that I really enjoyed about the previous Dark Knight's Metal were the Dark Knights themselves. They were excellent antagonists for the Justice League. They felt like threats. They had interesting backstories. But here, it just kind of feels like Scott Snyder's like, okay, how many different machinations or versions of Batman can I do? Okay, we'll do Batum. We'll put Batman inside of a monster truck. Heck, in the first issue, he was inside of a T-Rex. Also, the Super Wonder Batbot. Yeah, no, that was just... Why? And I know comics can be ridiculous. They're allowed to be fun. They're allowed to be out there. But when you compare it to the rest of Scott Snyder's run in this entire storyline that led up to this particular book, it just feels so out of place and almost completely different in tone. And then, yes, we do have to talk about it. We have to address Dr. Bruce Hatton, Dr. Bat Hatton, that the Batman Who Laughs brain now occupies. And I know I shouldn't be surprised because the Batman Who Laughs has been a big driving factor in the entire story from Dark Knights through Justice League. And albeit though I thought it was kind of stupid how quickly he was killed, I was still kind of happy he was gone. But now he's back. More powerful than ever before. And I'm just sitting here thinking about the concept of even a Bruce Wayne Dr. Manhattan. I mean, of course, multiverse, there's probably other versions of Dr. Manhattan out there somewhere. But I'm sitting here asking myself the questions like, how did you even catch someone that's on that kind of power scale? I mean, Dr. Manhattan can do pretty much everything. You know, he can change an object's physical presence. Like, you know, he can make a pencil into bubbles. I mean, this is an immensely powerful character that really we haven't seen in any kind of state where I would think it would be possible to catch him, let alone kill him. And I really do hope that we get some kind of story talking about how this happened because, damn, I would love to know how that happened. Because as of right now, I don't care what version of the character you're using, whether it's a Superman version, a Batman version, a Wally West version. In current, you are not going to convince me that this was possible. Which kind of segues into the next part of what I'm really not liking about this book and then the previous one is all of the tell, but nothing to show. Because from the end of Justice League, there's obviously a huge time gap. Some stuff happened. There was a battle with Perpetua, which of course the Justice League lost because that's how we got here. But all we really get is just like, you know, a couple spread pages of characters explaining what they know. And it's really creating this atmosphere where I feel like I'm almost reading nothing. And yeah, I'm sure that we'll probably get a couple of tie-ins here and there to sort of tie up the details, maybe even a whole other storyline to explain what really feels like a missing piece of the story. But when it comes to this particular issue as an extension off of the first issue, it's ridiculous. Though, again, I did find a few moments funny, but it was more laughing at the absurdity of the scenario rather than the moment itself actually being funny. And just to step away from the writing for a minute, I did want to touch a little bit on the art. Now, Greg Capullo is somebody that usually blows my mind. I still love what he did with Scott Snyder on the New 52 Batman. Of course, just about everything he's done since Dark Knight's Metal, the first one, I thought was absolutely great. But something within this book really stood out to me. It's the scene where Barry comes in and embraces Jay in a hug, and it's celebrated as a three-way flash hug kind of deal. But upon closer examination during a second read-through, I noticed Wally's actually missing from this, which isn't typically how I'm used to experiencing Greg Capullo's artwork, who normally just blows my mind with how detailed and intense his work can get. And as a fan of Greg Capullo, I know he can do better than this. It's a book that clearly doesn't take itself seriously, therefore I don't take it seriously. But because this book did give me a little bit of a chuckle unlike the first issue, I'm going to score this book a 5.5. I'm frustrated with the story, I'm frustrated with the characters. I honestly expected a lot better from Scott Snyder because I've read better from Scott Snyder. So Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 2, have you read this book? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and if you like this video, I'd love it if you'd smash that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos, and don't forget to check out the review for the first Dark Knight's Death Metal, which you can check out right up here. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.